We are going to have to do our last day of the Pels Putting Challenge. Let's see if we can't see how this sounds. Check. Check, 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 check. Check, check, check. Check. All right. That's pretty cool. All right, so day 30 of our Pels Putting Challenge. If you guys have been following along, you know the drill. We've got 10 balls. We're going to hit 50 putts. Goal is to make 45 out of 50 successfully. Let's get right into it. All right, 1 for 1. That's a good start. Hey, C. Rich is in here. Extra Innings is in here. What's up, guys? We are doing the last day of our Pels Putting Challenge live on the channel. Let's make sure we've got this set up. Good spot. 3 for 3 to start today. Oh, that might be too far. There we go. How are you guys doing? Welcome back to the stream. Thanks for being here, guys. Sorry it's been a little while since we've been able to do this. But lots of other cool, important stuff going on for me, which is great. Let's see if this is still working. All right. Eight for 8 to start our day. Thanks for stopping by, Extra Innings. Very cool of you. C. Rich says, do you recommend a straight back and straight through putting stroke? So I don't think that's really super feasible. This is the low arc well stroke mat that I train on. This is the 12-degree one. And to me, that feels as close as I can really get to straight back, straight through. Right? Because, oh, missed on the left there. First miss of the day. Right, because the putter's attached to our body, which is, our shoulders are driving it. So there has to be some amount of arc in the stroke without really manipulating the club a whole bunch. All right, 9 out of 10 in set number 1 here. So pretty cool, guys. We'll be able to stream in here while we do some putting stuff and, maybe do some fitness or mobility stuff. And we'll have the net set up outside, at least for now. Oh, missed on the right that time. All right, 2 misses here in set number 2. All right, right back on track. Trying this left-hand low grip. It's one that I've used before with a lot of success, and one that I like to go back to when, like I have recently, not been striking my putts particularly well. I find that the left-hand low helps to level out the shoulders this way, and for me that leads to, you know, better strikes more in the center of the putter. Just like that. Oh, another miss. Miss on the right. That's 3 already, so some work to be done. All right. 3 misses through 20 putts as we head into set number 3. Wes says, do you like the Spider? I do like the Spider. This is one of the original ones from maybe 10 years ago or so. This is the Spider Tour from 2015. It's got a lot of wear and tear, but it's been good to me over the years. The other putter that I will take off the bench occasionally is this is a Newport Beach Scotty Cameron from like 2003. This is a pretty cool putter. Clean top line, no line or dot or anything, with the sound slot in the back of it. So this is a pretty cool one too. But mostly just using the Spider. Squirrel Sniper says, greetings from across the pond, but under the same skies. That's awesome. What's up, Squirrel Sniper? Okay. So let's get into set 3 here. 3 misses. Work to do to meet our goal, but we're up for it. Just got to stay focused, hitting one good putt at a time. There we go. Gonna have to speak to the greenskeeper about the conditions up there. Remember guys, success is predicated on hitting your line. So you can hit good putts that don't go in, just like you can hit bad putts that do go in. But the idea here is that we're training start line, starting that putt on our intended target line. We're using this Pels Tudor Welsh Stroke Mat combo. All right, really good in set 3. This is the last day of our 30-day challenge, so we're doing it live. All right, another make. Last putt of set 3. Boom. Okay, that was a good clean set. Morning from Scotland. Hey, Tom.
You should ask where to golf in northern Wales.
Oh, I should. Yeah. I'm being reminded that I will be in northern Wales, and there could be time for golf while we're there. What's up, Tom? Hey, Search. It's not good to have 2 alignment 6 for a gate drill instead of 2 tees. You can use those too. I think either work, right? As long as you're giving yourself a way to train start line. For short putts, maybe, C Rich, it might be a little better, right? But as long as you make longer putts, because don't forget, you know, this putter is, we're going to hold it some amount away from us. So as we swing it back and through, it's going to arc simply because of the geometry. But, you know, if you really did try to hold, you know, keep it straight back and straight through, right, you'd have to be really manipulating that face, and things start to get a bit out of sync. So I would say, you're better off using some tees as a start line gate maybe, or as a gate for the putter to pass through, right, so that you're striking the center of the face, as opposed to using those alignment sticks like train tracks and trying to keep your putter in those train tracks. Because inevitably what you'll find is the longer stroke you make, you're really having to manipulate trying to keep it in that path. Which is why I think something like this is a little more subtle, where I see the path under the putter as I take it back, right? So I get that feedback, you know, with my peripheral vision about what it's supposed to look like. And then I get the performance feedback from the Pels tutor, which is, you know, did you actually hit the putt on your intended line? All right, so we made the first one in set 4. Can only hit one at a time, so you might as well make the one that you're working on. Boom. This is good practice for me. It seems that this new setup breaks somewhat substantially to the right, so I've got this thing aimed, about the left edge of the hole from 5 feet. And as you can see, it's falling right in the center. So great practice for me as someone who occasionally struggles on those left to right putts. You know, just staying in them, not coming out of your posture. I can really feel the difference in the switch to the left-hand low grip that allows me to really hit the center of the putter much more consistently, is what it feels like to me. Good run here to start set number 4. Still on 3 misses. Boom. Love that. All right, one more putt here in set 4. Oh, missed on the right. All right, so 4 misses with 10 putts to go. Let's see if we can't make 10 in a row and beat our goal. That's a nice start. Make the second one. We'll try to make the third one. Nice. Love that. All right. Halfway done with set 5. Boom. Nice to see these putts rolling end over end. No! Alright, missed on the right. That's our 5th miss. Back against the wall now. No room for error with these last 3. Goal's 45. We've got 42. Got to make all 3 of these. Boom. Made the first one. Let's make the second one. Love that. Checking with the chat in a second after we make this last putt. Boom. Right on the number. That's 45 today. 90%. Day 30. I think we learned a lot doing this for 30 days. You know, you'll definitely have ups and downs in the on-course performance, but I overall feel like, you know, committing for 30 days of, you know, really routine, you know, process-oriented type practice was definitely beneficial. I think I learned a lot about, you know, my putting stroke and, you know, what works and what doesn't. And I think it's a good reminder that it's one thing to do it in practice, it's another to translate it to the golf course. So that's the kind of the next piece. But all right, let me catch up here. So that'll be the last day. There is a like button. Shout out to Squirrel Sniper for keeping everybody everybody honest. Jackson said hi. Hey, Jackson. Nope said hola. And Great Temple loved content. Shout out to Nope. Thanks very much. Just Like Golf said, any tips for hybrids or fairway woods? So my tips for those clubs are, you know, generally to hit them more like an iron than you maybe would think. You know, slightly forward of center in your stance, but not like on your front foot like a driver. I see a lot of people, you know, playing like a 5-wood or a hybrid like up in the very front of their stance like it's a driver, and I think that's a mistake. I think you'll do better in the long run, you know, just making good center contact with a slight descending angle on those clubs. You asked me about hybrids and I don't have one, so I grabbed a 5-iron. This, you know, kind of a proxy. But yeah, keeping it, you know, a little bit more in line and just staying centered when you take it back and hit it. Greetings. Scorcio, invite me over. Our spinny drives me going down on the ball. Sorry for asking. Oh, don't be sorry, C. Rich. That's what this is for. I'm glad you're asking questions and being engaged. That's awesome. I appreciate the engagement and something to talk about, which is great. So keep it up. Yeah, if your drives are spinning a bunch, right, that could be from hitting it slightly low on the club face. That could be from, like you described, you know, a more descending angle into the strike than you might want. You know, so a good feel for that, right, is to try to imagine yourself hitting from low to high with the driver, right? Like you're starting from, like almost you were skipping a rock, right? Low to launching it up into the air. That's actually probably a bad analogy for a driver. But I think you get the idea, right, of trying to feel like instead of, you know, if you're hitting down on it, you're starting high to low, right? If you start low to high when you're through impact, that can be a really effective way to get that launch up in the air. Nick said you're about 3 balls left. It might look that way, but 3 balls left would be like over here, and I would definitely be missing the hole. Hey, DJ Wood is in here. DJ said, what's the deal with the putter hover just before you hit your putt? So the putter hover, great question, DJ, and very observant. I'll give you some credit. That's something that I started doing probably 6 or 8 months ago. And I found it super helpful because I used to, you know, just sole the putter, leave it on the ground, and then start the stroke, right? But by hovering it for just a fraction of a second before I take the club back, it takes all the tension out, right? So now my hands, even if for that, you know, fraction of a second, they feel the weight of the club, right? As opposed to if you just leave it on the ground and take your grip, right? You have the ground is holding the club up, right? And then you take it back, well, then your body is adjusting in real time as the club's going back to what that club feels like. So I found it has helped me to kind of smooth out my stroke just by really kind of feeling the weight of it right before I hit it. So that's the idea. It did take me a little while to be able to have it be, you know, kind of unconscious and just happen. And when I first started it, I would try to raise the putter up and it would go out this way. So that was something I had to be conscious of for a little while. But other than that, I think it's been helpful. But I definitely still have days where I'm like, I feel lost on the greens. I miss a ton of putts. Tom wants me to 20,000% hit a putter. That's a throwback for to a couple weeks ago for all of our longtime viewers of the stream. Nath says, love the tattoos. Thanks very much, Nath. Good analogy for drivers swinging a tennis racket. Yeah, that's a great one, Tom. Right, like you're really kind of hitting up into the sky like you were trying to launch it. Or I like the analogy, maybe not as prevalent over in the UK, but of like trying to hit a home run to left field. Like you're really, you know, back here and then just, you know, turning on one and sending it. I'm not sure if there's a good cricket analogy. Oh, we have a superstar. Hello, superstar. Hi. Hello. Came to say hi to the people. Yeah, he came to say hi to Dad. So I'm gonna help with putting too. Yeah. How's your putting been? I don't know about all this, Dad. Hi. Hi. Careful the cords. Yeah, let's stay this way. Okay. Tom's got a tip for the doggo. Shout out to you, Lily. You've officially started earning your keep around here. I'll let you know when your balance reaches positive. Yeah, dogs are the best. I mostly like dogs more than people. There's lots of okay people. There's a lot of great dogs. I wouldn't say there's a ton of great people. I mean, great is like, you got to feel really strongly if you'd be like, that's a great person. But great dogs? There's a lot of great dogs. Boom. Something about the left-hand low, right, just really helps for me to keep the shoulders more level, right? And I think that's really helped me consistently find the center of the putter. My miss has been a heel strike lately, which has just been killer on, especially on distance putts. Boom. Tom said, what's in left field? Packers fan says, you look like you have back pain. I do have back pain. I'm glad it's evident. You look great and your swing is right. Thanks. Snoots. There's not many dogs you'd hate. Maybe that one in Tom and Jerry from time to time. Pretty hard to hate any dog. Yeah, I agree. I'm glad that the chat is pro dog, because if the chat was, we would have had to have a serious discussion. Oh. Pretty hard to hate any dog. I agree. Even dogs that are, you know, aggressive or don't like people, I don't think that's usually, I think that's likely because they've been mistreated. That's a learned behavior. I haven't met a lot of dogs that are just kind of inherently that way. It is crazy how good it can feel hit the center of the club when you're used to just healing it. Oh, yeah, the back pain is real, especially after days and days of moving furniture and boxes and yeah, I'm hardly upright. I mean, my wife's the true superstar. She just is like the Energizer Bunny. Puts me to shame. Oh, it feels good to meet our goal on the last day of the putting challenge. We did manage to get a couple of perfect scores in there, a couple 50 days. What do we call it? 50 burgers the one time? It really is the owner and not the dog. Yeah, I agree with you, Tom. You're married to a battery advert bunny. It's colloquially like somebody with a high energy reserves. Imagine if I was like, no, actually, Tom, the literal bunny, like we sell batteries. I have 2 cats and 1 dog. Would trade the cats for another dog any day. Don't let the cats hear that, Tom. I've met some cats that I like. Oh. What else can we talk about? Oh, this is pretty exciting. Let me show you guys this. So this is our new performance tracking. Whoa. Good looks, Tom. Well done. Gun golf and batteries, I can see it. Amazing. All right, so guys, this is called Shot Scope. I just got this in the mail. This is the V5 watch and performance tracking system. So the way this works is similar to Arccos, if you've heard of that. This is another version of this with no subscription. And I think the interface is supposed to be a bit better. I tried Arccos and liked it. It was pretty cool. I don't know if it helped me get better. So this is the watch. Pretty attractive piece of hardware. You know, I'll have no issues at all wearing this on the course, you know, while I swing. So really, really excited to start implementing this, get some more data, see where I'm gaining and losing shots. I have a good feeling I know the answer, but this will, you know, kind of make it undeniable, right? The strokes gained will tell me. See, Rich asks, ever hit a hole-in-one? I have not. I've been so close. Let me regale you with some of my close to making hole-in-one stories. Cog Hill, 2015. I lipped out. I hit a 7-iron that landed about 8 inches behind the flag. It was a front pin on a back slope. And it landed directly behind the pin. And it came back, hit the bottom lip of the hole, and ended up sitting on the lip basically on the other side of the hole. It's probably the closest one I've had. There's a club championship a few years ago where I hit a hybrid from like 220 that hit the flag stick about, you know, I don't know, like in the bottom foot. Like it looked like it was about to just fly straight in the hole and hit the flag stick, landed, you know, ricocheted 40 yards back towards me and off the green. Made a bogey after nearly making a 1. One time in another tournament, this was a net tournament, I remember, because it was the easiest hole, but it was still like a 6-iron. It was like a 190-yard par 3. And at the time, I was playing off +1, so I was hitting 2 off the tee, which is silly. And I nearly made it, so it would have been the best 1 for 2 ever. But I tapped it in for a 2 for 3. So it was a birdie that went down as a par. But that was within a foot, I think. So no, that was a very long-winded answer to C. Rich's question. I've never made a hole-in-one. All right, so guys, this is what it comes with. The 16 different sensors, and these screw into the clubs. And this is what will, connect to the watch and then to the app in order to transmit the data. So, it uses GPS to know, like, okay, you hit a tee shot, and, you walked 260 yards, and then you hit your next shot, and it kind of maps your way around and builds a picture of how you played. Tom says, I've made one. Tom greater than John confirmed. Could be. I mean, certainly on that metric, I mean, 1 is undoubtedly more than 0. One thing I will say, I think other people are more likely to make aces when I'm playing with them, because I've seen it happen probably 4 or 5 times. I remember my favorite one to look back on was in high school when I was playing with these guys who were not really serious golfers. They were just out messing around, and this kid hits a 3-wood on like a 200-yard hole, and he thins it right into this hill right in front of the green. And he straight up, like barely gets it airborne, skids it along the green into this hill, bounces up, starts rolling. And we're like, oh, that was on kind of a good line. Maybe it'll be close. We walk up there, we don't see a ball. Like, I probably ran off the back of the green into the rough. Nope, just right in the cup. We didn't really like celebrate because nobody saw it go in. And we kind of were just like, wow, that was pretty crazy. I don't think any of us fully appreciated the difficulty at the time, like how rare it is to make a hole-in-one, let alone for somebody like that who's not really a good golfer. We're all just like, wow, that was pretty crazy. I've never seen that happen before. I think back on that one a lot. It's like, you do not have to hit a good golf shot to make a hole-in-one. Nate says, I put the pizza in the oven. Pizza sounds good. I had pizza yesterday. DJ 4 or 5 times, bro, come golf with me. I need some of that luck. I know. What I need to do is figure out how to harness it for myself. Because as I just described, I've been quite close and never made one. Who was I listening to? It might have been Phil Mickelson in a video recently talking about how he had lost count. Or it was in like the 30s or 40s. I mean, I suppose if you play golf 5 days a week for 40 years, you get a lot of chances at it. And obviously, the better you are, I think that the better likelihood you have. Although, as I just described, I'm not sure it's entirely correlated. But that feels like a lot. That's just a lot of holes in one. But on the same token, didn't Bryson talk about how his first one ever in his life was the one at the Masters, and that's the only one he's ever made, potentially? So he's obviously an amazing player and has played a ton of golf, and so I'm sure there are good case studies on both sides of the have you made an ace or not question. Hey, Garrett says you shot 2 under 70 today. Hope you're well. Thanks very much, Garrett. 70's a great round. Good playing, my dude. My last round, I think I shot 76. And it was just the silliest, sloppiest mess of, late bogeys in a round you would have ever wished to see. But that's okay. Missing short putts. I 3-putted from 15 feet, which was pretty fun. But every round you try to learn something, take something away, and say, okay, I can, be better prepared for this situation next time, or not make the same mistake twice. Of course we will. That's what's crazy about golf. But unrelated note, just found out my wife's pregnant today. That's some good luck. Oh, amazing, DJ. That is very, very cool news. That's very exciting. Country Alien says the wall helps. Oh no, maybe I'm like barely against. I'm not actually touching the wall. It probably just looks like it from your angle, guys. Yeah, there's a couple inches back here. Although it would be nice. Imagine if you just had a wall to stand up against. I would make way more putts. If my caddy could carry around like a 4x4 section of wall and I could just prop myself up against it. Maybe it's harder than it looks. It would be nice though, especially during those long rounds. Like just have something to lean against. Yeah, let's get some likes in the chat for DJ. Very, very exciting news. And the cool part is now, DJ, your contribution is complete basically. Now you just gotta wait. I envision lots of putting practice in a few months. I have a hard time feeling good with my irons and my driver long clubs in the same round. Do you have any tips? So I think I've been thinking about this a lot too. This idea of the iron swing and the driver swing being kind of fundamentally different, and we should think about them that way. Basically, my whole golfing life, I've been like, well, I have one swing and I work on that swing, and then I go out and I hit irons with that swing, and I also hit drivers with that swing. And knowing what I know now, I think they should be different swings. Like you should set up to them differently, think about them differently. The objectives are different, right? You know, with the driver, the club's on a tee. We're trying to maximize our distance, lower the spin, hit it as far as we can, right? So I think they are different swings. Yeah, DJ, once the baby comes, you're going to be doing a lot of indoor practice, not so much maybe out on the golf course. Paul says, hello, John, is this putting challenge? So this was day 30 of the putting challenge. We did that at the start of the stream. I won't spoil it for you if you want to wait for the video to come out. But yeah, day 30, finished up that challenge. Pretty cool to do it, set a goal to say I'm going to do 30 videos. I'm going to do this consistently, as consistently as I possibly can. I think it took me 34 days, maybe 33 or 34 days to make 30 videos. So probably like a B- in my mind. I would have loved to have done it every day, but obviously golf is not my career as of yet. So other things have to take priority sometimes. What's the easiest way to get more distance? So SG, there's a couple options, right? Number one, you can increase your club head speed. I'm going to be starting a club head speed, speed journey series pretty soon, guys. So that'll be cool to do on the stream with you guys. I should do this right. We're going to move this just a teeny bit. Sorry, to answer your question, you can swing the club faster, right? So that's speed training, something like the stack or super speed, or, lift weights, make the engine bigger so you can swing faster. Or you can optimize your launch and spin off the club, right? So that's generally hitting the center of the club face with your driver, having a positive angle of attack, right? Hitting up on the ball in order to launch it. Right? So those are your two choices. Swing it faster or optimize the speed that you do have. And ideally, you're doing, a little bit of both. I'm good with that. My game desperately needs some better putting. That's fair. I'm with you there. I think, so it was, wow, that feels like a long time ago. But Tuesday I played and shot 76. And I think I had 37 putts. So, the ball striking is pretty good. I'm hitting a lot of greens, hitting a ton of fairways. Just not converting the putts recently. Oh, rejected. Paul said you did pretty good, learned a little bit. Yeah, I agree, Paul. Have you heard of the caddy's drag, John? No, tell me about the caddy's drag. I feel like you've mentioned this on the stream before. I would love to hear more about this, though. That's one. Turtle said hi. Hey, Turtle. If you guys are enjoying the stream like these guys and hanging out, you want to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for me. Helps us out quite a bit as we keep trying to, you know, improve not only my game as I practice and share that with you guys, but, you know, pass along some knowledge that I've acquired, whether that's golf related or otherwise. So I'm going to try to figure out a way to do, like, I don't know if it'll be on the screen, but yeah, DJ, we are. Yeah, it's there's stuff everywhere that you can't see, but I was like, I've been off the stream with moving and just really wanted to get on here, at least for a little bit, even though things are a bit crazy. Say hi to the chat and maybe make some new friends too. So, like, yeah, like I was saying, guys, crazy amount of support. We're coming up on 2,500 subscribers. Oh, and my idea was, I don't know if it'll be live on the screen, but I might get like a whiteboard or something and try to do like a live subscriber count on the stream. I think that could be pretty cool. Paul says, when you start your backswing, you drag the club along the floor until it lifts off itself. Lower straight for irons, especially the driver. Oh, I like this idea. Yeah, so kind of like that really low and slow, like creating a lot of width. Thanks very much, DJ. That previous setup was dope. I agree. Yeah, that garage area that I had to hit into was pretty sweet. But new place is awesome. We've got a great backyard for the dogs. Beautiful big porch out there for hanging out and entertaining, all that good stuff. So I'm very blessed. I have very few complaints besides my current physical condition. But that's a temporary setback. Like, I'm honestly, if somebody said, well, this is a bad example because I would figure out a way, but what I was going to say is if somebody offered, you know, to bring me to Augusta National today, it would not be 100%. Like, I would have to really think about if I could physically get through 18 holes. But if for a place like that, yes. But if, you know, Joe Schmo's like, you want to play the Muni down the street? I'm like, call me next week. Gotta get this. Press sole of the club down, then drag it back. You should try it. Stops you picking club up on backswing. I like this idea. So, like, really physically pushing it into the ground. Hey, SG, thanks for checking out the stream. James says, who have you got winning the Open? P.S. You can't pick Scotty. Who do I have winning the Open? I'm going to make a crazy pick and say Rory. I feel like Rory took his foot off the gas and had this like huge release after the Masters and kind of was like, oh yeah, you know, I'll show up for the next few tournaments with whatever game I've got. And I feel like he doesn't do that for too long. So I know it's crazy to be like, have you heard of this good golfer named Rory McIlroy? But that's the first one that I would probably pick. Sawson's Comet said hi. What's up, Sawson's? Stops you picking the club up on the backswing. Start your backswing on plane if you do it. Yeah, I like that a lot. The other thing that I've been trying to work on, guys, is I had a lot of extension right, in my turn, like a limited turn, because I was kind of extending my spine this way as opposed to really turning and getting to a deeper, you know, kind of much more level type of spot. Right, so really trying to feel more like set in here and not so much like going this way. Sneaky Corey Connors pick. I love the Corey Connors pick. I've always been a fan of his game, and especially now that he's like an average putter. I mean, he was losing so many strokes on the greens for a long time, but he seems to have figured out a way to take advantage of his incredible ball striking. And especially for you know, an open, right? You got to be able to hit shots and flight it, work it both ways. Laying your left shoulder to the left side of your jaw. Yeah, same idea, right? So when I was extending, right, it doesn't get there at all. It's just here. But if you get here, you can really get that shoulder back. You know, I'm exaggerating some of these positions, obviously, right? Brother has to watch your putting videos. I'm sure Corey has an awesome team and works extremely hard on his putting. I was listening to, it might have been Smiley's podcast or somebody else, and they were talking about how even the worst putter on the PGA Tour is just miles and miles better than your average, you know, like plus handicap at home, right? Like, they all practice a ton. They're all extremely skilled. You know, they just putt on very difficult, firm, fast greens week in, week out. And, you know, the guys they're competing against are also the best putters in the world. So somebody has to be at the bottom of the list. Oh, thank you guys for being here, checking out the stream. Saying hi for a little while. Hopefully, be able to get into a good routine of doing this pretty close to a daily basis. I'd love to find a way to carve out, you know, even if it's just an hour a day, a couple hours a day, to commit that time to working on my game and sharing that process with you guys. I've really enjoyed it. It's been super fun learning how to make content and, you know, trying to be engaging and find ways to answer questions and add value that isn't just, you know, like, here's a guy hitting putts. Because there's nothing else on TV. Oh, I am. So, James, great question. James asked about Happy Gilmore 2. I felt the same way about Top Gun 2, where I was like very excited, but also anxious, where I'm like, the first one was so good, like, please just don't mess it up. And I think Top Gun did a good job of that, so I'm cautiously optimistic that Happy Gilmore 2 will be awesome, but it might not be. I mean, again, you never know. Have you ever watched The Darts? It was on at Madison Square Gardens last week. I am tangentially familiar with some of the darts, but I've never watched it. I'm not an educated darts watcher. But some of the moments that I've seen some internet moments of like the 9-darters or some crazy stuff happening, and the vibe is electric. I mean, people go all out watching darts, which is insane. It's so cool. Got some nice Athletic Brewing non-alcoholic beer going tonight. How's the short game been? So short game's been the only thing holding me together. Short game's been pretty good, except for bunkers. Bunkers have been a little spotty. But I also haven't spent nearly enough time practicing them this year. But short game's been pretty good, especially when you play it at high quality golf courses. Short game gets pretty easy as long as you're, in the closely mown areas, because the greens are very consistent. You can really spin it. Kind of how it will react and roll out. I got to check out some darts. That's what Paul's saying. We got to watch some more darts. I'm definitely down. Tell me, Paul, if I wanted to, is there a YouTube, news for darts? If I was like, hey, I want to know, who the top guys are, just give me a quick rundown. I'd love to learn more. Do you like Callaway drivers? I've been a TaylorMade fan, but after hitting Callaway, I'm reconsidering. That's interesting. So I personally, I haven't hit one in a long time, and I'd love to be convinced otherwise. But I have never been able to get my eye to enjoy the shape of a Callaway driver. They made some beautiful irons that I've really liked over the years, and wedges. I've had some Callaway wedges before, and I think it was the old Razorhawk Tour. I had a Razorhawk Tour driver that I really liked. That might have been like 2010. So no, it's been a long time to answer your question. For me, it's a lot about head shape. I'm sure they're all, you could go get fit, and I'm sure they could put a Callaway driver together for me that performed really, really well. So it's not oh, I think one's better. But at a certain point, it becomes about aesthetics and how your eye is going to react to the club behind the ball. And for me, in my power ranking's always been like TaylorMade, Titleist, and then everything else kind of drops off. Again, just purely aesthetics, right? For the major brands. Which is why you can see I've got all kinds of TM gear knocking around. If I had to pick one big OEM as hey, pick your dream company to sponsor the channel, it would probably be TaylorMade. I think the Kingdom is so cool. I think the content they make with their tour staff is so cool. And there's a reason why, tons of... I know they pay them, but... if they couldn't make Scottie Scheffler good golf equipment, he wouldn't, be playing their stuff. I have a set of John Letter's Master Model. Sean O'Malley of golf. PDC darts, okay. What is John Letter's Master Model? So how do you grip? Lee Trevino used them. Oh, cool. Oh, that sounds very cool. So I've recently been playing around with this left-hand low grip. But before that, I was trying a 10-finger grip. I've done conventional kind of reverse overlap for a long time. Still trying to figure out what works. I like the left-hand low switch because it levels out my shoulders, and I'm feeling like I'm making better contact with the putter. Just consistently able to strike it in the center of the face. Have you tried the claw? I've tried the claw here and there. It never... I used something like the claw when I was using the belly putter. I've done the claw in tournament play before, for sure. Can remember that. I don't know if I'm there yet. I feel like the claw is a cry for help. And I've been there before. I definitely, I've needed it. But But I don't feel like my putting's that far off. Mostly I'm just trying to get more reactive on the greens. I feel like I spend so much energy on technical stuff and making sure that the ball's pointed like right where I want it and all this sort of stuff on the short ones. And lately I've been feeling really good about just kind of, you know, once I've got my read and I've got a target and a spot picked out, just getting into it, taking a couple looks and going. Like just trying to react a little more, you know. My body and my brain like know how to hit a 5-foot putt at the left edge of the hole, right? It's just sometimes when you're out there about getting out of the way. And for me, one of the ways to do that is just kind of, you know, move through the process more quickly. Just try and react and respond to what you're seeing, what you feel with your feet, what your eyes are telling you. Too much self-respect for the claw. The claw is like a broom handle. I think the claw can be very effective, right? Like Tommy Fleetwood's obviously an amazing player. He's played super great with the claw for a long time. He makes it look pretty natural when he does it. And I don't, it feels decent to me. I don't dislike how it feels. I think for me, I just struggle a bit feeling like I know where the club face is. Whereas there are some other grips where to me like this feels much easier to just return back to where I started. But especially like on super fast greens or downhill putts, it feels pretty nice, I think. I say that and then I absolutely blast the right gate. You don't get the tips with your left hand. When I swing, I always miss the ball. What should I do? No claw putter wins a major. Yeah, it's been a while since a claw putter won a major, I'm pretty sure. So Kaz, if you're missing the ball when you swing, I would suggest slowing down to a point where you feel like you can consistently hit the ball, right? Instead of making a big, long, super big swing and swinging super fast and trying to... You don't get the yips with your left hand. Oh, that makes more sense. Yeah, I agree. That's also, Paul, why I like this left hand low. Right? It feels more like I'm hitting it with my left hand, and that hand is even closer to the club face. But yeah, Kaz, you got to really slow it down. If you're at the point where like, hey, I'm missing the ball, just make the swing a little smaller, make some little half swings, start chipping some balls until you feel the club face on the ball. And then once you got that down, then you start adding some more speed. Charles said hi. Hey, Charles. Oh, DJ, I might have missed your question before. What golf brands do you think are underrated? Leo's laughing. Nice. Underrated golf brands. I think Cobra has had some really cool stuff over the years, and they're kind of like thought of maybe as not a tier 1 brand, and they definitely could be. Srixon makes some unbelievably good golf clubs and is very underrated. Maxfly, again, because of how, you know, what the brand turned into for the last 25 years, they're not very well regarded, but historically Maxfly made some really, really cool golf equipment. I think I've heard that their tour balls are really good. The new ones that they've come out with, I think Ben Griffin plays those and has obviously had a ton of success. So there are definitely, you know, some underrated brands out there. Claw only for 15 feet in, and after that becomes hard to hit, at least for me. Regular grip is best. I think, yeah, whatever works. I think it's okay to mix it up. When I swing, I throw up chunks of grass. Is that okay, or what should I do to fix that, and how do I fix my slice? So the grass is definitely okay. Like you see most good players do take some kind of divot. Strix Daddy, yeah, that's right. Right, so you would hit the ball and then the turf, so that grass would come up, you know, once the ball's gone. But yes, it's totally normal with an iron to hit down into the turf and take a divot. And And fixing the slice, so this is a tougher environment to demonstrate in, but when you're slicing it, right, the club face is open and you're cutting kind of across the ball, right? So the drill that I have people do that really can help with your slice, grab an iron or a driver, whatever it is, and set up to the ball like you're, normally would. And then you're going to use something like a head cover, right? I'll use this one to demonstrate. And you're going to put this down behind and to the right of your golf ball, like that. Right? Hopefully you can see that. And if you make the swing that would cause the slice, right, that's kind of inside to start and then over the top this way and across the ball, right, your path to the ball will be physically blocked. Right? So if you can learn how to hit shots, and you don't have to do this at full speed, you can start making some small swings, right? This is going to force you to shallow out and neutralize that path into the ball, to be more down the target line, right? Less across it. And as long as the club face is square and you're getting the club face more closed, you should see that ball straighten out, start to draw even some. Right? So this can be a great drill to train yourself to take out that really steep over the top swing that causes the slice. Feldub says it all comes down to posture. I think posture is very important. Rip some smiles in those Balata balls. Yeah, that's exactly right. I've only hit Balata balls a few times, for funsies. But you can definitely feel a huge difference. You see a huge difference just in the spin and yeah. I mean, I don't think I mostly miss them, but golf used to be even harder, guys. If you can believe it. More superstars. Hi. You've been a big earner tonight. You got some tips from the chat. Say thanks, chat. Thanks, chat. Yeah. Oh, you like your new house? Do you like your new house? You being good? Yeah. That's a lot of kissing. That's a lot of kissing. You gonna help me putt? You gonna help? Yeah. Can I pet that dog? I wish everybody could pet this dog because it's a great dog. Oh, you got scratchies. You got scratchies. Oh. Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, most dogs are better than people. Because I met a lot of great dogs. I've only met a few great people. More pups. Yeah, that's exactly right. Bob asks how I'm doing. I'm doing great. I'm grateful that I get to spend some time, just practicing and chatting with you guys on the stream, hanging out for a little bit. Physically, I feel very tired. I've been moving furniture and boxes for a few days now. But again, perspective matters a lot, and I'm glad that I have the opportunity to be sore and tired, right? That means that my body works and I can do those kinds of physically demanding tasks. And is my body tired and sore after? Yeah, of course. But I know there's a lot of people out there who would love nothing more than to, get up out of their wheelchair and move some boxes, right? So got to maintain some perspective even in those tough days. East Coast time. See, Rich, so that's like 8:30, it seems like. Oh, it's almost time to call it for the night, but we'll hit this last set of balls here. It makes me feel better to know that not only in my own house in real life, am I number 2? The dogs are always number 1. But also on the stream, they're number 1 and I'm number 2, which is how it should be. Just so much more solid, the strike on these putts. But like I always say, I'm super grateful for all you guys, supporting me, showing up to the streams, all the nice comments on the videos, the likes, the shares, all the new subscribers when we do streams, and people say, yeah, this is actually kind of cool. I want to, hang out and do this again. And I'm so grateful for all the support. We're going to keep it going, guys. It's fully summertime now. Things are starting to settle down, hopefully. Can get to work getting our handicap back down. It's ballooning. Putter's larger than a hat. Okay. Paul says, good night, my Irish Shutting Bud. Catch up soon. Oh, thanks, Paul. I appreciate you being here. Shout out to our guy, Paul. Always helping us out with our game. Pat says putter is larger than a hat. What kind of hat? Which putter? Who could know? All right, guys, I think we're going to call it there. C-Rich says 1 month till freshman tryouts. You got it, C-Rich. Just work on, the key shots. Work on some strategy stuff. Make sure you can get off the tee, keep the driver in play. My handicap's up to like 2.9. It was down I was like a plus 1.4 at the end of last season, and I've gone all the way up to 2.9 since then. Trying to work on my swing and make it more conducive to longevity, right? I had a really solid, pretty powerful swing, but it was putting a ton of pressure on my lower back and my knees. And I said, okay, I can either keep swinging this way or I can just bite the bullet and rebuild it in a way that's more rotational and puts a lot less strain on my body. So that has, caused some inconsistencies in my ball striking, as you might imagine, to make a pretty drastic change. So, yeah, we're up to almost 3, I think, which is really, really high for me. But any tips for hybrids or fairway woods? So, yeah, I like to play those a little bit just barely forward of center, right? So more maybe closer to the middle of your stance than you might think. I see a lot of people set up with those hybrids like almost on their front foot like it's a driver. You'd be better served, playing it like almost like an iron, like a mid-iron. Last chance, guys. If you do want to hit that subscribe button, it does help us out. I'm super grateful for all you guys doing that tonight. Thanks again for being here. We'll see you next time.